Dylan's Candy Bar played a huge role in culture in the 2000s and early 2010s. It especially played a big role in certain suburban areas like the one I grew up in, typically towns that are upper class, East Coast, and very Jewish. Dylan's Candy Bar opens in 2001. It's started by Dylan Lauren, who is Ralph Lauren's daughter. But honestly, I respect the hustle. I don't care that she's a Nepo baby. I think she did a great job with it. She had a fantastic vision. She executed it amazingly. And her whole thing was like she grew up obsessed with candy and chocolate and is like a total candy obsessed girl and was like, I want to make this a visual scene for the eyes and a feast for the mouth. And it's exactly what she did. She opened this candy bar in 2001. It ran until 2021. They had a cool staircase. It was a vibe. Even though it was a candy store, the merch and design side of Dylan's Candy Bar played such a big role in the brand, to the point where everyone owned a Dylan's Candy Bar pillow. You would go to sleepaway camp and everyone had some sort of Dylan's Candy Bar merch, especially if you were a girl. The blankets, the shirts, all the different plush candy goods, and it all had this like Dylan's Candy Bar logo with like the lollipop and like the three things. I'll put it up here. Eventually what happened is Dylan's Candy Bar became the framework for any girl who had a candy themed bat mitzvah in the East Coast between the years of like 2005 and 2015. So people would mock up the Dylan's Candy Bar logo, make it say like Samantha's Candy Bar or whatever the bat mitzvah girl's name was, and make their whole bat mitzvah theme not only candy themed, but specifically Dylan's Candy Bar themed, because the vibe that Dylan curated was such a vibe, specifically one that appealed to young, camp-loving, Jewish, East Coast teens and tweens, and she made a mint off of it. They probably could have made even more of a profit if they like enforced some sort of like commission for mocking up Dylan's Candy Bar logo for your bat mitzvah, which I'm pretty sure most people probably did illegally, and I'm sure still happens, and like I'm sure she knows about it and like doesn't really care. I guess my question is like, it's really interesting to look back and see how much of a chokehold Dylan's Candy Bar, specifically like the logo and the brand itself, had on culture, especially between the years of like 2005 and 2015. If you grew up in like a primarily Jewish East Coast suburban area, did you also find that like this was very common for people to mock up the theme, for every girl you know to own some sort of Dylan's Candy Bar merch? Camp was like all Dylan's Candy Bar stuff. Very interesting how Dylan's Candy Bar really integrated its way into mainstream Northeast Jewish culture.